Okay. Of course, first of all, I have to congratulate with Real because they played a very important game. Quite happy because the way we approached the game. Of course, not the first couple of minutes where we struggled a little bit with, 3 turnovers of the 4 that we lost in the first 20 minutes. And of course, this is part of our plan, trying to control the tempo, the rhythm. I have to work on our continuity because we proved that for most of the game we was able to play more or less at the same level of our opponents, but too many times we were struggling, and because some turnovers or bad shooting selection or inconsistent defensive possession, even rebounding, that it's a part where in the second half we struggled more, are the key for us to be at the level we expect. Now EuroLeague for us it's over. Just time to put the best of focus in German league in the next 8 games. Try to find a way to go playoff in the best position possible, and try to fight for the title. That it sounds difficult, but it's our big task.
Thanks, coach. Turno de preguntas, por favor.
Now questions, please identify yourself and the company that you represent. Thank you. Good evening, Jonas Perez for Libertas FM. You, from outside, how do you see that the last match day would have not a unified schedule, that there is not a unified schedule?
My position about that?
Yeah.
Do you believe it's so interesting? Even in the past was almost the same. Of course, now Real Madrid was involved on this situation, but I believe that EuroLeague board already talked about that, and they trust on teams' fair play. And so if their idea is to let the people play no matter of the schedule, it's a part of their way to handle the league. Of course, it sounds strange because usually in a domestic league, in the last at least 2 games, the tendency is to have games the same day at the same time. But we know in advance their idea is to trust on a team's fair play, and this is what we have to accept, because it's not a rule that change, but it's a rule that we know since the beginning. And if the way is to invest on team fair play, why not? It's then of course somebody can have some doubts. It's up to everybody have his opinion. But if the league believe that that's the way to run the rules and to handle the relationship with the teams, you have to accept it. Maybe one day is good, one day is bad, but I suppose that at the end, 30 games of regular season are enough to prove what is the real value of the teams. It's not up of one game.
Any further questions for the coach? That's all. Okay, thank you.
Good luck for the play.
So try me in the morning when the sun comes rising up. Try me in the afternoon, but you just can't get enough. Try me in the evening, satisfaction guaranteed. gotta try me. Bring that body closer. I wanna feel your skin up on mine. Like I already know you. I'm grabbing that ass from behind. As we dirty wine, I got chills down my spine. As we dirty wine, girl, we might be meant to be. So try me in the morning when the sun comes rising up. Try me in the afternoon. Bet you just can't get enough. Try me. Satisfaction guaranteed. Yeah, I got what you need. You gotta try me. I got what you need. You gotta try me. Right. Yeah, try me, baby. For all my goals. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. For all my goals. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Yeah, yeah. One slow for your boy. I'm in transit, thought stranded on this boat, and I pledge myself allegiance to a better nap, sleep at home. And the sweet, sweet sun's coming down hard. The sun's coming down hard. It burns the bones. So hold a hand for cover. Hold a hand for cover. Hold a hand for cover from home. Talk don't change a thing. Oh, it's fading freedom. The words don't sink their swims. Oh, it's fading freedom. This mess, so we tried our best. There's all that we can do. While the angels walk with the lonely ones in the cold rain to rescue you. And this fatal world's coming down hard. The world's coming down hard in all our homes. So hold a hand for cover. Hold a hand for cover. Hold a hand for cover from home. Time don't change a thing. Oh, it's fading freedom. Words don't sink their swims. Oh, it's fading freedom. Time don't change anything. Oh, it's fading freedom. In transit. Words don't sink their swims. I'm breathing. I'm breathing. Oh, it's fading freedom. In transit. Oh, it's fading freedom.
I wanna dance by water beneath the Mexican sky. Drink some margaritas by swinging blue lights. Listen to the mariachi play at midnight. Are you with me? Are you with me?
evening again, and now we'll start a press conference, as usual, with the assessment from Pablo Lasso. Good evening. First, to congratulate the guys for the win. Obviously, it was a difficult match with nothing before the match. At the beginning, we already knew how we were classified or not in their case, so these matches are kind of difficult to get in. I think the first quarter was attractive for the fans, regarding that there was a lot of offensive basketball. It seems that the one that would get an extra gear in the defense would get it, I believe, in that sense. On the second quarter, we were a bit better. We decreased the percentages. We worked with a number of changes in defense, and we maintained our offensive production. And at the end, we managed to win as we deserved. On the last match of a regular phase that was quite hard and complicated, as I was mentioning with Luca before the match. Questions for Pablo? Nami Fernandez, Real Madrid Television. Good evening. So now you have to be aware that the court factor is not as important, and I would like for you to assess Panathinaikos as well. Thank you. The first thing I did when I went into the dressing room was to congratulate because of the Euroleague we played. From 30 matches, we won 19. I think the team was quite competitive. In 29 of them, there was one bad day. In the other matches, we were close and we were able to win with a good basketball. We missed some that we could have been placed in a better position, but we also won some on a really difficult final position. Therefore, within the harness of this competition, at the same time that you played in this league as well, which is quite demanding, the team had quite an important behavior. So today we are 5th. It seems that it's a day to be kind of as big as sad because we didn't get a court advantage. But if you would look at it from a different point of view, we should be quite happy because the team goes into the playoffs, and of course we would have liked to have that court advantage. We don't have it, and that's it. From now onwards, it's a playoff where you just need to think about the first match, which is, of course, away. We understand this, we take it, we lived many things during the season, so this will not affect us in excess. The only thing I ask now for the playoff, which is in 10-15 days more or less, is to be able to recover some of the players that, for a number of reasons, are not either in the best position or injured, like Tavares today, Facu, Tompkins. We'll see how Sergi is as well. I know you're going to ask about him. But the thing I would like to ask now is to be able to get to the playoffs in the best physical condition that is possible, which is what we all coaches would like. Panathinaikos. I don't have a lot to say. We're talking about a big team, quite athletic, with lots of players that play in different positions, with centers that open, that run the field, two very determined players on the outside like Mike James and Kalates. And of course, if they're going to play, the EuroLeague playoffs are some of the best in Europe. So we know what we have in front of us, and we have to be ready for a tough, competitive playoff. Javier Rodriguez from Planet ICB. I would like to ask about Tavares. You said on the previous deck he could play it, so were you just cautious? And I would like to ask, how do you take the feeling of being able to choose your opponent before you start a match? Or maybe you didn't even think about it, and if you're happy at the end of the day when Olympiacos and Panathinaikos with the one you got. Well, Eddie was okay. I think it would make no sense to force him, and he has a problem on his ankle, so every day we would win. It's important. As a matter of fact, if we could to provide a list before, I would have got Dino inside and Eddie out because we would get some more days. It was not like that, and it was quite obvious they wanted him to warm up and to move, but he was not going to play. Tompkins, we forced him as well because he didn't finish training before, and we're going to stop him in a couple of days now. That regarding the physical status. Regarding the match, yeah, it's weird. You go to a match that it's not decisive at all. You have the classification in the position that you already got. But from my big way I am, from my attitude, I don't choose the opponent. I think home match, Real Madrid, in front of the fans, we cannot speculate with that. We have to try and give our best all the time. Some people pay the tickets to get the best Real Madrid. I think the ones who were watching are happy with the way we played. And I don't really think about, I don't think that's good. I think that it's good that we're okay, and the strength of the team is important more than this is going to be better or that's going to be worse. Then you really don't know. Why would Olympiacos will be better than Panathinaikos, Panathinaikos better than Olympiacos? You really don't know. They're all great teams, quite different among them with different styles. But I don't really believe on the opponent choosing, really. Hello, Pablo Fastino from El País. I think this, they always said that this is not from the last match, it's 30. So what do you think it was losing that court factor, if it's because of the injuries of a specific match? And I would also like to ask about the thing about recovering players and the physical status, if we have room on these 10, 12 days, or if it's going to be tight. I believe in a league with 30 matches, and I've mentioned before, it's not just one day or a given moment. I would mention tons of moments throughout 30 matches. Bad moments where you say, gee, just mention one. If Tompkins scores the 3 shots on the Panathinaikos field, maybe it would have been third. I don't like it. Maybe and if Luka misses the 3-pointer on Belgrado last week. So during a regular league, for the good things and the bad things, it's going to position the place you deserve. We had a great job to be able to be amongst the first 8 and a feeling of a season that was sort of a speak weird. We had many players coming in and out, but the team was competitive for the whole time, always in the higher part of the classification. We got to the playoffs, and it's a day, so the first 8 are happy. Of course, the one that have the quarter advantage will be better, will be happier, but that doesn't assure anything. So I don't really like to think about, well, if Antic would have not missed or would not have scored the 3-pointer against us, we would have won. No, I don't think that. At the end of the day, I think more about my team, and I think that it was a league, a regular season, where the team was quite competitive on every day. Not one of them, but all other 29 matches, we had the possibility of winning all of them. Regarding the physical status, due to the injuries we have, I cannot really mention a lot. We have about 10, 12 days for the first match, and we are on a very day-to-day basis. Tompkins, we have to stop him a couple of days. That's the same thing that happened after the Copa del Rey. He has is almost injured in the abductor. Facu is not seriously injured in the knee. He's better. We hope that we will recover him, but it's also day-to-day. Eddie as well. Although we talked about him before, he has a problem in his ankle. He could have played today, but we didn't want to force it because we have to watch that every day as well. And the remaining one, you always ask for him. We're always also in that feeling that we have to take a look day after day. If the question was with Sergi 4 months ago, there would have been no questions because we were talking about months. Sergi's a lot better, and we have to see little by little how he goes into the team, although we know that it's a big challenge that as the EuroLeague playoffs. Jorge Martinez from elbenabeu.com. You were talking about the difficulty of the months to know the classification. I would like to ask how the team lived, you and the team and the players, Panathinaikos and Olympiacos matches, that the results were always favorable for one of them, and after that it would change with a surprise. So what were your feelings in that sense? I can tell you for myself, and I get more nervous when others play than when we play. I'm just being honest. Yesterday I just left. I saw Unicaja Fenerbahce that they were playing nothing. There was not important. It was more or less fun. Unicaja was not playing qualification or anything. Fenerbahce was already second. And when they started ones that had something on the stake, like Baskonia and Milan, I just left. I split it. And I didn't want to watch it because last year I had a really bad time, and it was more or less the same today. And we were watching before the match, and you get nervous because you have a match and you have to, abstract yourself. And there was a moment I just split it. I was a bit out, and then tried to. If I tell you what I was doing, I was just playing the game. Otherwise, it seems that you're thinking about other people do, and the important thing for us is to focus on ourselves. But it's weird, of course. It's a weird situation because you're seeing other people, that your classification may depend on other people's work. And that makes you even more nervous. This is, and I would ask you, what do you would like, to have your job, to do your job, or to somebody else would do it? You'd rather do it yourself because you know how you can do it, and somebody else would do it differently. So it was quite a weird feeling that I really don't like it. I would like to have control no matter whether it goes good or poorly. Last year, Pablo, the only team that got there without the core factor, was champion of Europe before Panathinaikos. So that psychological factor can be important in this qualifying round. Everything is going to have some weight. What you're talking about is important. Panathinaikos was 4th, Fenerbahce was 5th, and Fenerbahce won. On that match day, if Baskonia won Zalgiris, there would have been Fenerbahce and CSK. So all that is part of the Euroleague. Last year, it seemed that after Darussafaka we were all quite happy. We're going to win, and I remind you that we were 1-1 here, and we had to go there, and we were able to win twice over there. So each place is different. Right now, being honest, all those things are on the table, but that should not affect my team. If you want to think about the good things, or if you're going to think about the bad things, it's there, but you know that, but what I'm worried about now is that we're okay. Last questions? Pablo, at the beginning of Rundle, it seems that it was a bit like the match he was going to do. Did you see that as well? Yeah, I think Anthony needed a match like that. He was playing quite well in the last 3-4 weeks. A lot of activity, doing tons of things properly. And I think he was a bit frustrated because some shots were not in, and a player needs to get that trust that you see that you're scoring, that you get rebounds, and that you block. So I'm quite happy with Anthony's work after the injury. It was difficult for him, and he recovered little by little. I'm really happy that on the last EuroLeague match, he was playing his best match in 2 years he's been with us regarding numbers. I think he played some very good matches. Maybe he was not as highlighted, but today was quite bright because he was able to score, rebound, recover, and it was quite amazing. And from the beginning, it was like he was quite in the match. Okay? Right, thank you.